Hey, today I'm talking about 3 Matt Damon films that all feature angels, except one of them is a bit of a stretch in both the featuring Matt Damon part and the having angels part, but I'll get more into that in a minute. Anyway, the names of the 3 films that I am talking about today are Field of Dreams, Dogma, and The Adjustment Bureau. First up is The Field of Dreams. This is a 1989 Kevin Costner, James Earl Jones film, and the basic premise is Kevin Costner plays a man in his late 30s who's just kind of done everything pretty normal. But then one day, while out in his cornfield, he hears a voice telling him, if he builds it, he will come. And so he decides to build a baseball diamond in the middle of his cornfield, and then maybe ghosts come to play baseball there. And it's really great. I have seen this movie before. My parents both really loved it, so I watched it a lot as a kid. We have family from Iowa, which is where the movie's set and was filmed. And also, extra fun fact is, I've been there. I've been there. My dad even stole dirt from there. I don't know why he did that. He just did it. But this is dirt from the Field of Dreams. Also, here's a baseball that my brother got from there. Anyway, so I do have a deep connection with this film, though it has been a while since I've watched it, and it still holds up. There's a lot that I love about this movie. The premise is interesting and weird, but then like the themes and ideas of the film. It's about making amends with loved ones, getting closure there when someone dies. It's about the nostalgia of youth, but in a kind of nostalgia that's more fun than just a regular nostalgia film, because it's not about like the good old days. It's more of just like there were certain aspects of being a kid that I loved, even though there were plenty of aspects that I didn't love. Like it was a complicated real past, not just like, ooh, look at the golden oldies. But it's also about like trying to achieve your dreams and not quite getting your dreams, and also just like trying to do something with your life. But what is it to do something with your life, but also like still being supportive of your family, and just like it's just so much. There's so much really good, interesting stuff in this film that I just really connected to and was great. It was a great, lovely experience. I do have a couple of complaints, with the main one being I hated the music in this movie. It is the antithesis of me as a person. It's just like sappy, inspirational 80s music, and it's just like, God, no. But that's definitely more of a me thing, so yeah. Also, Matt Damon is technically in this movie because him and Ben Affleck were extras at the Fenway Park scene. He has a whole little interview where he talked about meeting Kevin Costner on set. And like, the angels part is like, the baseball players are ghosts, spirits, but are they just that? Maybe there's a little angelicness to it. Also, like the voice, is that the voice of God? Or is that an angel? Or is it one of the ghosts? Or is it all three in one? The voice is just credited as himself, so who knows? So yes, it's a bit of a stretch, but I'm counting it because I make the rules. Regardless of that stuff though, the movie's great. I love this movie. It's a classic. Even though the music's terrible, I still, without a doubt, 100% recommend this movie. You don't have to be into baseball to like this movie, because I'm just kind of okay with baseball. It's a beautifully told story. It might hit extra home for you if like, it's technically a movie about wanting to play catch with your dad. So if you can kind of relate to the idea, definitely check it out. But yeah, no, it's a wonderful movie that I wholeheartedly recommend. And so does my whole family. Next up is Dogma. This is a 1999 Kevin Smith film, his 4th one. And the basic premise is, centuries ago, a couple of angels were kicked out of heaven for reasons, but in modern times, maybe they've discovered a loophole to get back into heaven. How great for them! But wait, maybe that's actually a bad thing and will undo all of existence. Okay, so there's a lot that I love about this movie. The biggest thing is definitely Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Like, obviously they have great chemistry together, but it really shines here. They bounce off of each other really well. They have really great conflicting ideas. Like, if the movie was just them, this would easily be in the top 10, if not top 5. They were just so good together. Their characters were also really interesting. Matt Damon's angel is a bit of an asshole. He's the angel of death, but he goes on an arc and he comes around to certain things, and he doesn't want bad stuff to happen. He doesn't kill people without reason. There needs to be a reason. And Ben Affleck's Angel is kind of the opposite in so many different ways that are also complementing. So just like everything with them was awesome. I really loved the discussions of faith. I thought those were really, really interesting ideas. They do focus primarily on Christianity, and it is something I wish they would have kind of branched out a little bit more. But they do talk about different denominations of Christianity. But I do think overall, though, the discussion of Christianity was really interesting and good. Also loved Alan Rickman. Could have used way more Alan Rickman. Salma Hayek was also great. She had also had a limited role, but was terrific when she was on screen. Where this movie falters is interesting. So it's in its treatment of women. Because like the main character is a woman, and she's a strong, smart woman, well-rounded character. She has flaws and all that. And you got Salma Hayek, who's a badass. And it does a lot of dialogue about empowering women, and that's great. But it also insanely sexualizes them constantly. Like Salma Hayek's character is a stripper, which is kind of funny, but it's also like our lead doesn't really have any other women to talk to. There are a couple other women, but they're really fleeting. There's none in like the main group of people with her, except Salma Hayek, but she only pops up like midpoint of the movie, but then disappears until like the very end of the movie. So like, we just needed more. But what's really awful is everything Jay says. Because Jay, from the get-go, is just trying his damnedest to the main character. And that's his whole shtick, is he just sexualizes her at any cost. And it's not funny, it's not interesting, it's really just vile and disgusting how much shit he fucking says about trying to the main character. And she's not into it, she doesn't like it. We don't need it in this story. It really is just dehumanizing and gross and just bad. What doesn't help it is that they sexualize Salma Hayek's character. So like the two main women in this film are just being sexualized. That's a big part of what's happening to them. If you just take out Jay and Silent Bob, the movie gets way better. So yes, I am shitting on this movie a lot, but that's because this movie is really f***ing good with just one really glaringly, obviously terrible aspect to it. And that's frustrating when you have something that's so great with something so obnoxiously terrible. So would I recommend this movie? As much as I liked it, I would say cautiously. It's in a sense of its time and dated, but even with that, it's still just like, ugh. So yeah, if you think you can handle the grossness that's in this movie, I do think it's worth it because everything else is just so freaking good. But if you're kind of like taken aback by what I've said, just skip it. It's okay to miss it. Even though it is a very good movie, this movie has a stain, and it's okay if that stain dissuades you from watching this film. And lastly is The Adjustment Bureau. This is a 2011 kind of sci-fi fantasy film starring Matt Damon and Emily Blunt. And the basic premise is there's a plan for everyone, but random chance and free will can happen. So these men in hats occasionally will do a little thing to just adjust you a little bit to make sure that you stick on your plan. But Matt Damon's character one day comes across this beautiful woman that isn't a part of his plan, and maybe that throws everything into chaos. As it was pretty good. It's interesting. I definitely like this movie. I like the premise a lot. I think the casting was good too. You got Matt Damon and Emily Blunt, but you also got Anthony Mackie and Pedro Pascal? What? Terrence Stamp and John Slattery. A lot of it was the ending. Like, it definitely felt rushed, and it felt like it really didn't quite work. Apparently they changed the ending. They were going to meet God, but we weren't ready for a non-white, not Christian woman to play God in 2011. So they changed it. I didn't learn that till after the movie, and that's after I already had the concrete opinion of wasn't the best ending. Plus, like, part of it too is that I don't feel like the ending did get the main storyline to the end, but there's still more stuff that happens after that we needed to know about, and essentially the consequences to the actions. And it's weird that we didn't get any of that resolution. It was fine. It was cute. It could have been better. I do think it was interesting. I think if someone else tries to adapt this short story again, I think it has potential of doing and being better. Would I recommend this movie? I mean, it's fine. It's not gonna blow your mind, but it's not a bad time, so maybe. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Field of Dreams sitting at number 26 in the really like section. And then after that is Dogma sitting at number 84, also in the really like section. And then bringing up the rear, rightfully so, is The Adjustment Bureau sitting at number 155 in the liked category. And this is out of a total of 243 old movies so far this year.